Hi, and welcome to the second video in a series I'm making to try to help demystify working with solution concentrations and dilutions. In this video, I'll try to show you a way to stop focusing on the maths and start thinking about what is actually happening. Working with concentrations and dilutions is something that many people find to be strangely abstract and complicated. But I often find that this is because it's easy to get lost in different units and algebra. If you sit back and think about what is actually happening, however, and you strip out all these units and algebra, then actually it often becomes a lot simpler. So as an example of this, if I have a cup of tea and I stir in 1 teaspoonful of sugar, what's the concentration of sugar? Well, I've put 1 teaspoonful of sugar in 1 cup of tea, so the concentration is just 1 teaspoon per cup. Now if I drink half of the tea in the cup, how much sugar have I drunk? Well, you assume the sugar is evenly distributed. So if you've drunk half the tea, you must have drunk half the sugar too. So I've drunk half a teaspoonful of sugar. And if I've drunk half the sugar, the other half must still be left in the cup. And what is the concentration of sugar in the remaining tea? Well, that hasn't changed. It's still 1 teaspoon per cup. It's just that now I only have half a teaspoonful of sugar in half a cup of tea. Now if I top up this half-empty teacup with plain tea until it's full again, what would the concentration be then? Well, I had half a teaspoon of sugar left in the cup, albeit dissolved in some tea, but if all I've done is add more plain tea, then the amount of sugar hasn't changed, so I must still just have half a teaspoon in there. Only now it's dissolved in a whole cup of tea, so the concentration is now half a teaspoon per cup. And I can do that same process again. If I drink half of this cup of tea, and then top it back up with plain tea, what's the concentration then? By drinking half of the tea, I've got rid of half the sugar again, so now I have half of half a teaspoon, a quarter of a teaspoon left in the cup. And if I fill that back up to full again, I've still only got a quarter of a teaspoon in the cup. So now the concentration is a quarter of a teaspoon per cup. In this simple example, I've actually described a serial dilution. We started off with a stock sugar solution of 1 teaspoon per cup, and I've then taken a half cup aliquot of that and diluted it up to a full cup. Then I took a half cup aliquot of that and diluted that up to a full cup again. And each time I filled the cup back up, the concentration reduced, because in each subsequent cup there was less and less sugar still in there. In the first cup of tea, when there was 1 teaspoonful of sugar in it, how much sugar would have been left in the cup if I'd drunk 3/4 of the tea instead of half? So if you find you're getting lost in complex units or are not sure about your route through an algebra forest, try stripping all of that away and think about what is actually happening. If you're getting confused, concentrate on how much of your material is actually in a flask or is being transferred from flask to flask. Follow the sugar.